Hello, everybody, and welcome to this edition of the Service Impact Podcast. Today, we're talking about making a memorable brand, and here to discuss it is the Director of Content and Brand at Outside Communications, Shellie Chiavetta. Shellie, how are you today? Thanks for joining us.
Exceptional pronunciation of the name, Lance.
Thank you. I want your mother to be proud. So there you go. Exceptional brands. And it's not, I know some people think, oh, I got to have the logo. I got to have the colors. I got to have the cool truck wrap if you're a home services businesses. But this is so much deeper than that. So where do we start?
Yeah, I think everybody wants to have a memorable brand, right? Let's just start there. Memorable brands are the brands that get business. When a customer is in need of something, you want your company to be the one that they think of first. And if they are hunting around, you want to be the one that sticks in their mind. But what does it mean to be memorable? I think, to your point, a lot of people think that being a memorable brand is the one with the coolest logo or the one with the strongest visuals or X, Y, or Z, something that is visually impressive. But actually, being memorable goes way beyond that now. And memorability has become synonymous with trust. So do your prospective customers feel that you are credible? Feel that they can trust your services, feel that you're going to do a good job? Do they get those signals that have your business stick in their brain when they're ready to make a decision?
Yeah, and what you're talking about is when we talk about depth, you've got to look good. Mm-hmm. And you've got to sound good, but I think the part that gets skipped all the time is the minute that phone call is made, the minute that form fill is sent and the conversion is created. What is the experience that your customers have once they kind of enter your doors?
And that, I think, is such an opportunity point for a lot of service businesses when they're thinking about developing their brand. You know, it's not just hiring an agency or somebody to help you look and sound good. That's not where you should stop. To your point, you really have to look at the entire journey that your prospective customers are taking. And when they get you on the phone, are they talking to somebody knowledgeable that makes them feel taken care of, that gives them some confidence? Is the follow-up professional and timely and useful? What is the experience of being prepped for a service appointment? What's the experience of talking to your salespeople? That's all wrapped up in marketing. But I don't think a lot of businesses think of it that way. I think we think of marketing and customer service as two totally different things, but they aren't. They really aren't. They're quite linked.
In fact, some of the work that we've done that I think has been so impactful, even in the last year, has been where we actually go through the customer journey and what does this experience look like from beginning to end. Into the estimates, into the follow up for the estimates, into like what's happening with the the appointments that might come out of a conversion. It's like it is a beginning to end affair that ultimately defines your brand. It's like, and when you hear people talk about brands, it's like, okay, on the consumer product side, it's quality. It's, well, that's something that people feel, that's not a logo. That's something they feel. That's something that they experience over time. For a home services company, it's responsive. It's They were easy to understand. They had trust. Does any of that have anything to do with a logo?
Right.
And I think that so often companies that operationally are struggling are thinking that a brand can actually fix maybe what's wrong with the company, but it's actually a DNA thing. And the companies that we see that are most successful, they are constantly looking at how to improve that experience. And oh, by the way, the look, the sound, the vibe of the brand is just simply complementary to their awesomeness, and because they're already good at what they do.
Yeah. I mean, to illustrate that point, let's go through a hypothetical. I mean, take me, for example, I move into a new area and I needed a HVAC provider, had to get some work done. So, what's the first thing that I do as your average consumer? I'm going on Google, I'm looking at who shows up near me. And before I even get to a website to be able to see a brand's identity, I am looking at the company name, how close they are to me, and how many reviews do they have on Google?
Mm,
What are those reviews
yeah.
saying? Are they 3.5 stars? Are they 4.9 stars with 300 reviews? When I was talking about trust signals earlier, those are a brand's initial touch points to many, many, many of their potential customers before a customer even goes to the website. So, I might say, okay, this company is close by, they're rated pretty highly. Then I'm going to click onto their website and see what they have to say. And then if that website looks really janky, sometimes I might even ask myself the question, why are they rated so highly when their website looks like this? Those trust signals from your peers, people who are buying this service, or using the service, buying this product, they speak volumes. So you do have to have the whole package in order to really show up as a reputable, trustworthy, credible business. But you can't ignore that an experience that a customer has with you is part of your brand development. That is part of the foundation you're laying for new customers and repeat customers over time.
Yeah. Well, um, okay, we've gone into, we've talked logos, we've talked I mean, we haven't really talked about logos and colors, but we've gone elsewhere on the whole memorable brand thing. But where does a company start? You the things that get improved in a business are the things that get the attention. Where would a company start as they kind of assess or reassess where they're at? They want to go to the next level. Let's say that they're a $3 or $4 million company, and they want to take the jump to $7.5 million, and they really want to become, a consumer brand in the home services space, and a company that's memorable, and everything's on the table. This is our goal. We're going to look at everything. Where would a company start?
Yeah, great question. So I think you want to start in two different arenas. The first one is you do want to look at your voice and tone and messaging and brand visual identity. So the best way to do that is to start with a very basic brand audit. Does your company have a clear mission, vision, purpose statement that kind of comes through on your website? How is your brand currently being perceived? Do you have any image problems that you might need to attend to? Do you have a plan for addressing that? Is your messaging clear? Your value prop, the basic brand promise that you're offering your customers, is that clear on your website? What are your competitors doing? Who's doing really well? What can you learn or understand from what they're doing in the marketplace? And then where are your gaps? Where are you now, and where do you see that you need to gain ground? So that's on the visual and voice and tone side, that's a really good place to start. It's just getting a lay of the land, and then make the investments in places where you see gaps. If your website isn't up to what your competitors are doing, it's time to invest in some branding that elevates your credibility. If your messaging isn't really clear, or you think it could be more on point, that's where it's good to invest in a content strategy. So getting the lay of the land will let you see where you need to address some of the gaps in your, basic foundations of voice, tone, and visual identity. That's one bucket. The second bucket is really working on that, those trust signals, that social proof, what your customers are saying, what what reviews they're leaving. So a way to do that is to start engaging more in interacting with your customers on social media. That's a great place to start. Just start, chit chatting with people who leave comments on your posts, or how are you engaging them on a relatively regular basis. Ask for reviews. Ask for your customers to leave reviews on your Google profile, on your website, Yelp, wherever, have a brand presence. Get that social proof, get those testimonials, put testimonials up on your website. Those all help with that brand development aspect of perception, social proof, trust, and credibility. And then you got to keep an eye on things. So monitor things over time. How many reviews are coming in? What are your review averages? Are you studying what you need to do from a customer service standpoint to improve if you're getting negative feedback? Monitor your site traffic. Are people leaving your site once they get on it, or are they hanging out? What are your social media statistics say? That can sound really overwhelming, but it can be boiled down to making sure you have a solid foundation of customer service, a reputable, professional looking brand, and then monitoring regularly to make sure you're engaging with your customers in a way that builds that trust and credibility, and seeing what you can do to improve if you're getting feedback that, indicates you have some gaps to fill.
Yeah, and just to kind of put this in perspective for people listening, we have a lot of different types of service companies that we work with and that listen to this podcast. The home services industry, for the most part, the companies that are rocking and rolling, they know how important reviews are, and they're using software that's helping them run a lot of these reviews. House Call Pro is a popular one that, after folks are done with the engagement, the text goes out and, hey, please review this, or the email goes out and says, hey, please review us. But there's really an opportunity on the B2B side. I don't think as much of this gets done on the B2B side. And my gosh, it can make a huge difference there too. With the companies that we work with that make that a priority. Oh my gosh, they tend to be really good, and they tend to be very growth oriented. And I don't think it's an accident. So there's opportunities always to improve, but I think on the B2B side, I think there's definitely gaps in some of these industries where a company that really steps into that, makes sure that they're asking for reviews, that they're getting them, that there can be a big difference in perception. And if you're relying on local search at all right now, I know this is about building a memorable brand, but my gosh, I don't know that there's anything that screams memorable brand like, 150 or 500 or 1,500 5-star reviews that a potential customer is looking at and going, gosh, who should I trust? Well, I don't know. Maybe the person with all 5-star reviews, or 4.9 or 4.8. Yeah, I'll trust my service to that. So but monitoring, I think that's really important. And it's like, okay, are all these efforts as we're building this memorable brand, if we're not measuring it, it's probably difficult to improve. And we can do that, though, in your analytics, in Google Search Console. It's like, how is our branded search doing? How many people are out there looking for us by name? And of course, this isn't a little hill to climb, but over time, if the overall strategy, if the overall brand strategy is meaningful, is purposeful, you're going to see improvements over time, aren't you?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think a lot of brand development work is, you kind of have to build each building block over time. It's something that will compound. So if you set yourself with some solid foundations, you're just going to have a more sturdy place to stand when you're working to improve in whatever area, whatever hill there is to climb next. So it really is like, it's an incremental thing, but you're setting yourself up for establishing yourself as a really trusted and reliable business that people will gravitate toward first when they're looking to make a decision.
A memorable brand for the win. Shellie, thanks so much for coming in. And for those of you listening, if you're interested in more marketing content for service companies, head over to serviceimpact.com. We'll see you next time on the Service Impact Podcast.